I've transmigrated into the cannon fodder male supporting character in a tragic romance novel. The female CEO hates me to the bone. To save her lover, she's forcing me to divorce her. Elias, if you don't sign, I'll break your legs. I quickly calculated how much alimony I could get and signed the divorce agreement without hesitation. It's laughable. This stepping stone kind of male supporting character. Anyone who wants to take it can take it. I just want to enjoy life. Chapter 1. When I woke up, I was lying in the sun on a sprawling estate of thousands of acres. It took me a moment to realize what had happened. I was originally a shady street vendor selling low-quality grilled sausages. Yet I had transmigrated into the male supporting character in a melodramatic tragic romance novel. According to the book, I had a business marriage with the female lead, Alice. I was infatuated with her for over a decade, but she didn't love me. She only had eyes for Benjamin. In an attempt to break up the leads, I committed every kind of evil, eventually falling off a cliff and dying a horrible death. The thought made me shiver. The original character was nothing more than a stepping stone for the main couple, cannon fodder. If I wanted to survive, I couldn't repeat his fate. I flipped over, ready to continue basking in the sun, when my phone rang. It was Alice. The moment I picked up, she snapped, "Elias, you better get your ass over here right now." I suddenly remembered. Yesterday, Alice had proposed a divorce. I refused and, out of frustration, had someone kidnap Benjamin. Thankfully, Alice arrived with her bodyguards in time, and Benjamin only sustained minor injuries. Now she was coming to settle the score with me. I hung up the phone in a panic. I had hurt Alice's lover, and she would definitely want to kill me. No way. I had to run. I quickly got up and headed back inside, but the estate was just so massive that by the time I reached the living room, I was drenched in sweat. Alice and I slept in separate rooms. She usually didn't allow me into her room, but I knew where she kept her valuable jewelry. The original character was just a foster son of the Law family, ignored and not even given a share of the family assets. His bank account had only a few spare coins that would barely last a month. So, before running away, I needed to grab some money. I picked up a sapphire necklace. This thing looked expensive, and just a few of these would set me for life. While I was looking around, I came across a sketchbook. I opened it up. The book was a birthday gift from Elias to Alice. Inside were sketches of Alice, starting from when she was a teenager. Each drawing had a date written on it and was kept in pristine condition. It was obvious that the original character, Elias, had loved Alice deeply, but no matter how much he loved her, he was worthless in Alice's eyes. I remembered a scene from the book, just before Elias died. He begged Alice to look at him one last time, but Alice didn't spare him even a glance. Her heart and mind were entirely consumed by Benjamin. The original character was such a fool. I placed the sketchbook back and continued searching for the necklace. As I was about to leave the room with the necklace in hand, I saw two bodyguards approaching. It was over. I was trapped. Half an hour later, I was dragged into a private room, where I froze when I saw Alice sitting in the center. Her exquisitely beautiful face, fair skin so delicate it seemed it could break with a touch, radiated an aura of nobility. No wonder the original character loved her so desperately. She was truly stunning. Benjamin was sitting beside Alice. The male lead is like every righteous character in novels, despite his tragic past. He has a handsome face that makes the female lead weak in the knees. Everyone else was from wealthy families. Watching me with glee, Alice looked at me coldly. "Elias, get on your knees and apologize to Benjamin." Benjamin tugged at Alice's hand, pleading for me. "It's all right, Alice." Alice harshly refused. "No, he dared to kidnap you. He's going to pay for it." I knew Alice wouldn't let me off without humiliating me to make Benjamin feel better. A real man can endure. Surviving was the priority. I dropped to my knees with a thud. "Sorry, Benjamin. I shouldn't have had you kidnapped." Not only was Alice stunned, everyone else in the room was also taken aback. Chapter 2. I asked, "Do I need to kowtow?" Before Alice could answer, I quickly slammed my head against the ground. Enough. Alice threw a divorce agreement at me, threatening me harshly. "Elias, if you don't sign today, I'll break your legs." I touched my long legs and shuddered. Looking at the divorce agreement in front of me, I finally understood why she had called me here. I stood up and opened the agreement to read it. What? After the divorce, she would give me $200 million in alimony and 10 properties. Holy shit, what a good deal. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. I didn't want to cry, but the offer was just too much. Seeing me cry, Alice thought I was reluctant to divorce, so she furrowed her brow and said, displeased, "Elias, if you don't sign." Before she could finish, I quickly signed my name and handed it to her. "When do we go get the divorce certificate?" Alice was stunned. She didn't expect me to agree to the divorce so easily. She was completely shocked. "Elias, you really agreed to divorce?" I looked at Benjamin and sighed. "Your lover is back. I'm being generous and helping you two out." Although Alice was surprised, she didn't think too much about it. After all, for her, getting the divorce was the most important thing. In the end, we agreed to go get the divorce certificate the next morning. After leaving the club, I couldn't resist opening the divorce agreement again to count the zeros. So much money. In real life, even if I sold starch sausages day and night, I'd never make that much money. No need to buy a new house, I could just pick one to live in, and rent or sell the rest. Just thinking about it made me feel ecstatic. Alice was quite generous, but to her, it was probably just pocket change. I didn't expect that as soon as I got back to the estate, I'd get a call from Alice. Come to the old mansion. She hung up right after saying that. I checked the time, it was around mealtime. Could she be asking me over for a meal? For a wealthy family like the Lee family, the food was probably top-notch, so I eagerly rushed over. When I arrived at the Lee family mansion, I immediately sensed something was off. Alice, Lee, and Benjamin were standing in the middle of the living room. Lee's father sat on the couch, his face dark. He must have found out that Alice was divorcing me for Benjamin and was furious. Benjamin glanced at me and then said to Lee's father, "Uncle Lee, some things can't be forced, and Alice is already carrying my child. I hope you can support us." What the hell? So Alice had already been sleeping with Benjamin behind my back. But I didn't remember anything about Alice being pregnant in the novel. Maybe the system was glitching. Whatever. As long as the money was in my hands, I didn't give a damn about anything else. Alice looked at me, her expression somewhat complicated. She moved her lips as if to say something, but before she could speak, Lee's father slammed the teapot onto the floor. He pointed at Alice, furious. How could I have raised such a shameless daughter? Lee's father ranted at Alice for a while. I stood quietly by, saying nothing. I didn't love Alice, so I didn't feel any particular way about her actions, but as a man, it was a little irritating. Alice didn't respect the original character at all. But then I thought about the 200 million in alimony, and my mood brightened again. After Lee's father finished scolding, he ordered the servants to kick Benjamin out. Although he was unhappy with Alice's disgraceful actions, he had no choice but to approve the divorce. Maybe feeling guilty toward me, he sent several jade antiques as a parting gift. I cried in his arms and said, "Thank you, father." The next morning, Alice and I went to the office to finalize the divorce. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw Benjamin standing at the door. TCH, he really couldn't stay away. His aura seemed different from yesterday. The look in his eyes was smug, probably because he thought now that Alice was pregnant with his child, he had one for sure. I'm not Elias, that idiot, and I won't fight him for Alice. Besides, I didn't want to be some tragic lover right now. All I cared about was getting the divorce, securing the alimony, and living the good life. There weren't many people at the office today, so it wasn't long before Alice and I were up. 10 minutes later, Alice and I walked out, both looking defeated. Benjamin anxiously asked, "Alice, did you get the divorce certificate?" Alice shook her head. "No." Benjamin frowned. "How could that be? Did Elias back out and refuse to divorce?" I rolled my eyes at Benjamin. "You've never been divorced." Now there's a cooling off period for divorces. We have to wait 30 days before we can finalize it." I had just learned about the cooling off period myself. So annoying. I was feeling frustrated and didn't notice Benjamin's slightly evasive gaze. Benjamin raised his voice, saying, "Of course I've never been divorced." I was speechless. Why was he shouting? I couldn't care less whether he'd been divorced or not. Benjamin glared at me. "Elias, I warn you, when the time comes, you better come to finalize the divorce like a man, and don't even think about backing out." I gave a cold smile. Sure, whoever doesn't want a divorce is the dog. Upon hearing that, Alice's face turned green with anger. I couldn't care less whether her face was green or red as I strutted off. Chapter 3. To avoid any complications with the divorce and to ensure I get the alimony, I made sure to constantly show up in front of Alice every day, making her hate me even more, while also seeing if I could squeeze out a little extra from her. After all, I had suffered enough in the name of love trying to win her over for all these years. Now, asking for some material compensation was perfectly reasonable. Money, of course, the more the better. Finally, Alice couldn't stand me anymore and threw a black card at me. "Get lost." I looked at the black card in my hand, and no matter how hard I tried to suppress it, I couldn't help but smile. All right, I'm outta here. Not being able to get the divorce certificate yet had me feeling down, so I decided to cheer myself up. I went to a car dealership and walked out with a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I used Alice's card to pay. Despite being a total gold digger, Alice had never been stingy with the original character when it came to money. It was one of her few redeeming qualities. As I cruised around in my luxury car, I couldn't help but notice that every head on the street was turning my way. Of course, a handsome guy driving a fancy car, who wouldn't be mesmerized. Next, I went to the hospital for a full-body checkup. I had to make sure that I wouldn't end up with all this money but no life to spend it on. As I was walking out of the hospital, I heard someone calling my name. "Elias." I looked up and saw a woman standing in front of me. Her name was Selena, the original character's childhood friend, and she had secretly been in love with him for years. However, the original character just wouldn't return her feelings and insisted on staying with Alice. This had made Selena and Alice bitter rivals. After I married Alice, Selena and I hadn't kept in touch much. I shook my head. To have such a pure and sweet girl like her by your side and not appreciate her What was the original character thinking? Selena asked. Are you feeling unwell? No, I just came for a routine checkup, I said, looking at her. How about you? Selena raised the bag in her hand. I'm picking up my dad's heart medication. After a pause, she continued. I heard you're divorcing Alice. I nodded. Yeah, she's pregnant with Benjamin's child. Am I supposed to stay married to her and celebrate the new year together? Selena was shocked for a moment, but then her eyes turned suspicious as she looked at me. Elias, it's been a while since we last spoke, but you seem different. You used to be completely obsessed with Alice. To cover up my unease, I cleared my throat a couple of times and said, after chasing her for so many years with no response, I'm tired. She can love whoever she wants. I'm handsome, and I've got money. Finding a wife won't be a problem. Selena kept staring at me, trying to figure out what had changed. To ease my guilt, I gave a dry laugh. Anyway, I've got to go. Let's grab a meal sometime. She was too smart for her own good, so I hurried off before she could figure me out. With 28 more days to go before the divorce cooling-off period ended, I spent my days eating, drinking, shopping, and packing my bags. The more I could take, the better. I'd sell whatever I didn't need later. As soon as the cooling-off period was over, I reminded Alice to go get the certificate with me. Alice frowned as she looked at me. Elias, why do I feel like you're more eager to divorce than I am? I was confused. What man would want to keep the woman who had cheated on him? It was perfectly normal for me to want out. I'm just thinking about you, I said. If we don't hurry up, when your kid is born, whose name will it go under? It can't be mine, right? Alice fell silent for a few seconds, then looked at me and said, Elias. I interrupted her. Enough. Don't say anything else. The child can't go on my household register. I don't want to be a dad. Alice's face looked a little dark. We went to the parking lot, and just as we were about to get into the car, Alice's phone rang. I couldn't hear what the other person said, but her expression turned grim. After hanging up, she grabbed me by the arm, her face tight with anger, and asked, Benjamin's missing. Did you have something to do with it? Where did you take him? Benjamin was missing. I quickly shook my head, denying it. It's not me. Alice didn't believe me. Impossible. You must be the one who doesn't want a divorce. So you hid Benjamin. Elias, you're despicable. I really wanted to curse. The original character had indeed done some bad things to Benjamin, but now, I was Elias, and I was busy making money, who had time for petty tricks. Still, I didn't want Benjamin to actually be in trouble. Otherwise, Alice would definitely think I was behind it. How do you know he's missing? Have you double-checked? Alice glared at me fiercely. She and Benjamin had made plans to meet for lunch, so about an hour ago, she had sent someone to pick him up, but they couldn't get in touch with him and couldn't find him anywhere. I thought for a moment and said, take me to his place. Maybe we can find some clues. Alice stared at me for a long time. Elias, if anything happens to Benjamin, I won't let you off the hook. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. Finding Benjamin was the priority. At Benjamin's place, I took a quick look around but found no clues. Could he really have vanished into thin air? Could he, like me, have ended up as a character in some novel, doomed to be cannon fodder? Alice shot me a glare full of rage. Elias, if you're pulling any tricks. Suddenly, I thought I heard something, and before she could finish, I rushed into the bathroom. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Benjamin sitting next to the toilet, passed out, smelling strongly of alcohol. Alice quickly ran over and knelt in front of him, calling his name. Benjamin, Benjamin, wake up. Benjamin slowly opened his eyes. Alice, what are you doing here? We were supposed to meet for lunch. Did you forget? Benjamin stood up. I forgot. I had too much to drink last night with some friends. I looked at Alice's bodyguards. Didn't you guys think to check the bathroom? The bodyguard lowered his head. We didn't think Benjamin would be in the bathroom. True. Who would think he'd be passed out next to the toilet? That was a pretty unique habit. Alice glared at her bodyguards. You're all useless. I rolled my eyes. With her kind of intelligence, she was supposed to be a ruthless businesswoman. I'm saying, former fiancé, can you at least get your facts straight before accusing me? Don't just blame me randomly. After all the tension, it turned out to be a misunderstanding. This time, I was the one with the egg on my face. Before Alice could speak, Benjamin cut in. If you hadn't had me kidnapped last time, Alice wouldn't have suspected you. I was so pissed I almost laughed. All right, but next time you want to sleep next to the toilet, let me know in advance. I couldn't be bothered with that scumbag. I turned to Alice. Let's go. No more delays. I've got alimony to collect. Chapter 4. Today, the Civil Affairs Bureau was quite lively. We had to wait in line for a long time before it was our turn. Thankfully, we finally got the divorce certificate. The money and the house were also settled. Bro is happy now. From now on, I'm going to live the good life, eat delicious food, and enjoy the peak of my life. Alice looked at the smile on my face. Elias, what are you smiling about? I've suffered so much for so long, and now I finally got what I wanted. Why wouldn't I be happy? But I couldn't be bothered to explain much to her, so I just shrugged it off and said, nothing. I'm heading out. That same day, I moved out of the estate. I chose a spacious flat in the city center. It's not as big as the estate, but it's perfect for just me. I rented out the rest of the properties. The Law family was extremely displeased when they heard about my divorce with Alice. They even called me, asking me to beg Alice for reconciliation. In their eyes, I was just a pawn used to tie the Law family's interests with the Lee family. So I completely ignored them and blacklisted all their contacts. Laughable. Whoever wants to be a pitiful male supporting character can go ahead. I just want to enjoy life. That night, I went to a bar. Life is short. Might as well enjoy it while I can. After just a couple of drinks, I ran into Selena. Elias, you're actually at a bar drinking, she said, clearly surprised. It wasn't unusual for Selena to be shocked, since Elias usually stayed far away from places like bars. I pulled out the divorce certificate from my pocket and showed it to her. I'm divorced now. Don't I deserve to celebrate? Selena glanced at the divorce certificate, then smiled. Well, how about I keep you company for a couple of drinks? I smirked. How about you buy me a drink? The Ma family, like the Lee family, was a super rich family, and Selena was an only child. She had more money than she could spend, so I figured I'd help her out by letting her spend a little on me. Selena sat down, resting her chin in her hand, and looked at me. Alice isn't exactly a paragon of virtue, but she probably won't be stingy with the alimony. I chuckled. I'll definitely be getting remarried in the future. I need to save up for my next wife. Selena raised an eyebrow. You're already thinking about remarrying this soon after your divorce? I shrugged indifferently. What am I supposed to do? Stay celibate for her? That's not happening. She's in the past now. I'm not sure which words of mine pleased Selena, but she immediately offered to cover all my expenses for the night. I was overjoyed and quickly ordered an expensive bottle of wine. The next day, when I woke up, I found myself lying on a hotel bed. Selena was sleeping beside me. I was shocked and immediately checked if I was still intact. Thankfully, nothing had happened. Selena woke up, glanced at me, and complained, if you're gonna drink, at least know your limits. You're heavy as hell. It was exhausting helping you. She stretched her arms, clearly annoyed. Turns out I had gotten drunk last night, and Selena had brought me to a nearby hotel for convenience. She had stayed up, worried I might throw up, and had fallen asleep beside me. I looked at Selena and chuckled. She was way more reliable than Alice. I remembered the time Elias had gotten drunk and fought with Alice. She had gotten so angry that she had the bodyguards throw him out of the house, leaving him to sleep on the lawn all night. That's when Elias swore to never drink again. After packing up, Selena and I checked out of the hotel. As we stepped out, I spotted Alice not far away. Benjamin stood next to her, dressed in a suit, looking quite presentable. Alice must have been escorting a client. This hotel was part of the Lee group. Selena, thinking I didn't notice, nudged me and gestured for me to look. I shrugged. A qualified ex should be like they're dead, so there's no need to greet her. Someone like me, a supporting character, is no match for the main couple. It's better to just keep my distance. Alice's gaze lingered on me for a few seconds before she turned to Benjamin, saying something to him. His expression darkened, but he still left in the car by himself. Alice then walked toward us, her face clouded with anger. I need to talk to you for a minute, she said, her tone serious. Before I could say anything, Selena spoke up. I'll wait for you in the car. With that, she turned and walked toward the parking lot. I asked, Lee, what's up? Alice gave me a piercing look. What's your relationship with Selena? I really wanted to roll my eyes. She's my ex. What right does she have to question me? I lazily responded, whatever you think it is, that's what it is. Maybe because she sensed that my attitude had changed. Alice pursed her lips. I'm not pregnant. She's not pregnant. So Benjamin must have used that as a tactic to get the Lee family to agree to our divorce. But so what? Her heart was always with Benjamin. Whether or not she's pregnant doesn't really matter. I casually said, well, you should focus on trying to get pregnant with Benjamin's child then. Alice froze for a moment, clearly shocked, before asking in disbelief, what did you say? I couldn't help but laugh at her. A generous ex-husband like me is rare, so why the heck would she still be unhappy? I'm just wishing you both the best. You've always wanted to be with Benjamin, so now you finally have your chance. Alice fell silent. I thought she had no more to say, so I turned to leave, but she stopped me. Elias. I turned back to look at her. Is there something else? Although I didn't show any irritation, it was pretty clear from my tone. Alice looked at me strangely. I'll drive you home. I waved my hand, pointing toward the car ahead. No need. Selena's taking me back. Without waiting for her response, I walked away briskly. When I got in the car, I looked back at Alice. She was still standing there, not moving. Selena glanced at me sideways. You're not still thinking about Alice, are you? Stop being ridiculous. Help me look. Isn't that girl in the short skirt over there pretty? I rubbed my eyes. I'm still a little drunk. Can't see clearly. Chapter 5. Selena rolled her eyes at me. I thought you were still hung up on Alice. Turns out you've already moved on and are eyeing other women. I'd have to be crazy to still care about Alice. She's bad luck for me. Maybe Elias really did die because of her, and that's why I ended up here. Selena couldn't help but laugh. I looked at her, and honestly, she looked pretty good when she smiled. The next few days were blissful. I even took a 2-week vacation and saw quite a bit of the world. Now I understand why so many people want to be rich. The leisure of lying flat and doing nothing is just too comfortable. When I got back, Selena came over to visit. She brought some news with her. She told me that Benjamin had married a rich woman abroad a long time ago. But when the rich woman found a younger, handsomer man, she dumped him. After the divorce, Benjamin returned to China to look for Alice. No wonder he had been so emotional when we last talked about divorce. Alice was furious when she found out Benjamin had been lying to her. They had a huge argument, and in the process, she accidentally fell down the stairs and got injured. At this point, Selena looked at me. If you want to get back together with her, now's your chance. She's in the hospital. Selena thought I might still have feelings for Alice because she had seen how deeply Elias had loved her for years. I sneered. Are you kidding? I want to live a long life, not waste it on her. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Alice. I picked up the call. Hello. Alice's voice sounded weak and raspy. Elias, I'm in the hospital. Why should I care if she's in the hospital? I'm not her mom. But I still replied, oh, well, take care of yourself. Elias, aren't you coming to see me? That's when I realized. 2 years ago, Alice had been in a car accident, and Elias had stayed by her side, caring for her more than a nurse would. Even then, she still gave him the cold shoulder. Now she was calling me, and I had to wonder if she expected me to come to the hospital and take care of her. Not a chance. We're divorced. There's no reason for us to stay in touch, and I'm definitely not coming to visit you. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. After hanging up, I noticed Selena had been watching me the whole time. You said you'd take me out for a meal. I had just said that casually, not expecting her to remember it so clearly. Fine, I'll go buy groceries, and we can eat at home. Selena raised an eyebrow. Can you cook? The original Elias definitely couldn't, but I could. It's not hard. Wait here. I'm going to buy the ingredients and cook you a feast. Mostly, it was to save money. If we went out to eat, she'd probably make me spend tens of thousands. 2 hours later, Selena was sitting at the table, her thumb up in approval. Wow, this is impressive. You're almost as good as a professional chef. Selena picked up her chopsticks and started eating. As she ate, she kept praising me. A rich young lady like her, used to delicacies, was giving rave reviews for my simple home-cooked meals. Seeing her enjoy the food so much, I felt quite satisfied too. I accidentally dropped my chopsticks. Selena and I both reached for them at the same time. When our fingers touched, we both froze. Selena's face turned bright red. She was definitely shy. She tried to pull her hand back, but I grabbed it. Selena. She looked up at me in surprise. Honestly, my heart was racing, especially with her staring at me like that. Compared to Alice's cold, untouchable personality, I much preferred Selena. On the outside, she seemed headstrong and arrogant, but she was actually very feminine. But in reality, I was just a single guy with no romantic experience. I held my breath and leaned in, kissing her cheek. Selena's eyes went wide. You. Before she could finish her sentence, the doorbell rang. I got up to answer it. To my surprise, it was Alice standing outside. She had lost a lot of weight, and her face looked pale. She had bandages wrapped around her head, giving her the look of a tragic beauty. She looked so pitiful. I shook my head. Wasn't it just a breakup? Did she really have to make herself look half dead over it? She seemed like one of those obsessive love addicts. Her voice choked as she said, I looked at that album, and now I know how much you loved me. I'm sorry, Elias. I was wrong. Can you forgive me? Elias really did love Alice, as could be seen from the album. When I didn't answer, she started crying. Chapter 6. Elias, I regret it. Alice's voice cracked. I shouldn't have divorced you. I've missed you so much these past few weeks. Can you come back to me? If Elias had seen Alice crying with red eyes in the past, he would have been heartbroken. But I wasn't Elias. Even if she were crying or drooling, it wouldn't matter to me. Alice, there's no such thing as a regret pill in this world. We're done, I said firmly. Alice panicked. I don't believe it. I know. Before she could finish, Selena walked up to me. Selena came over and hugged my waist. Elias, the roasted ribs you made are so delicious. I smiled. I'm glad you like them. Selena glanced at Alice, who was stiff as a board, and giggled. You're something else. Miss Lee. A guest comes over, and you don't even invite her to sit down. Alice's face turned ghostly pale. She shot me a hurt look before turning and running off. Watching her leave, I couldn't help but think, wow, the female lead really has fallen from grace. Life does have a way of turning things around. Selena pinched my waist, pouting. What was that look on your face just now? You kissed me earlier. Are you trying to back out? I snapped out of it and gently patted her head. What are you thinking? I'm afraid you'll dump me. Not the other way around. Selena's face turned bright red, and before I knew it, she was throwing herself into my arms. I wrapped my arms around her tightly. Honestly, her body felt soft, and holding her was really comforting. After Selena and I confirmed our relationship, she took me to meet her parents. Knowing that her dad had a heart condition, I brought some health supplements for him. Her parents liked me a lot. They didn't mind that I was a divorcee and even asked when we were planning to get married since Selena wasn't exactly young anymore. I held Selena's hand and said, "Next month." Her dad and mom grinned from ear to ear, repeating how great it was. We chatted for a while longer before her parents went upstairs. Selena looked at me and asked, "You told my parents we're getting married next month." But before she could finish, she saw the diamond ring on my finger, and she froze. I had already bought the ring before coming to her parents' house. I didn't want to miss my chance with Selena, so I planned on marrying her sooner rather than later. Looking at her, I asked seriously, "Selena, will you marry me?" The diamond was 10 carats, very flashy. I may be cheap in some ways, but I wouldn't be stingy when it comes to marrying the woman I love. Selena was so moved that she started crying. I smiled and wiped away her tears, but she slapped my hand away. I was taken aback, and then I heard her say, "Stop wiping my tears. Hurry up and put the ring on me." I laughed. She was afraid I'd back out. I slid the ring onto her finger. Selena excitedly hugged me. I hugged her back tightly. With the wedding next month, things felt a bit rushed, and I needed to get busy with the preparations. The next morning, I accompanied Selena to a bridal shop to try on wedding dresses. After choosing one, Selena went to change, and I waited on the sofa. Suddenly, I felt a gaze on me. I looked up. It was Alice. She looked at me and asked, "Are you really going to marry Selena?" I nodded. "Yes, we've already set the date." Alice's face became sad. "Can't you not marry her?" Alice. I called her name. Looking at her face, "You don't love me. You're just being possessive because you see me with someone else." If she hadn't found out Benjamin had lied to her, she wouldn't even have thought about me. Alice denied it through her tears. "No, I always thought I loved Benjamin, but after the divorce, I realized I regretted it. I can't let you go. Elias, I love you." I didn't want Selena to come out and see Alice ruining the good mood, so I said bluntly, "Even if you regret it, it has nothing to do with me. Alice, I only want to be with Selena now." Alice's tears fell even harder. I added, "Look, I don't even feel anything when I see you cry. Don't you get it? I don't love you anymore." Alice froze, biting her lip. Silently, she turned and walked away. Outside, I didn't know when it started raining heavily. Alice didn't have an umbrella, letting the rain soak her. She looked completely disheveled and miserable. I had never seen Alice like this. She had always been so high and mighty, so unapproachable, but I felt nothing. Selena came out of the fitting room in her wedding dress, almost blinding me with how stunning she looked. "Sweetheart, you look so beautiful, so captivating." Selena blushed and smiled. "You're just full of sweet talk." I pulled her into my arms. "I'm telling the truth. For me, Selena was the woman I should be with." The wedding day arrived soon after. Both Selena and I were excited and happy. After the ceremony, I picked up Selena to head home, but out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw Alice's figure. I didn't care though. Looking down at Selena in my arms, I smiled, filled with happiness and contentment. "Sweetheart,